Did you know that you might be lying to yourself in 7 core ways that could be sabotaging your love life and relationships? Well, in this video, I am going to cover the 7 biggest lies that you may tell yourself as an anxious, preoccupied attachment style and the substituted truths that we really need to hone in on so that you can stop doing this and actually put yourself in a position where you have people investing in you and in the relationship that you actually deserve without having to worry all the time about things falling apart. And if you stick around to the end, the biggest lie is lie number 7. So, the first lie that you may tell yourself is, it's fine. And what I mean by this is anxious preoccupieds tend to really sort of, turn a blind eye at times to big red flags, their needs not being met, them being canceled on, things not really being up to their standards. And as long as you keep making things okay that are not actually feeling okay for you, you will keep suffering through that to a certain degree, unfortunately. So the more you don't set your standards, the more you don't communicate your needs, your expectations, your boundaries for what's actually okay with you or not, the more disappointed you're going to be in a relationship. But the kicker of this is that every time somebody doesn't show up because you accidentally make it okay, you're actually reigniting your own abandonment wound because you are self abandoning. And whatever we do in the relationship to ourselves actually causes the repetition and emotion dynamic at a subconscious level to fire and wire different neural pathways. In other words, if we keep abandoning ourselves, we create an internalized feeling of self abandonment, which allows that abandonment wound to stay there. So you want to really check in and ask yourself for number one here, what is actually okay for me and what's not? What are my standards in relationships? And how can I make sure that I do my due diligence to communicate these things to other people I'm dating? Because if I don't, I'm going to be feeling left disappointed. And this abandonment wound is going to stay alive, which, if you pay close attention, dear anxious preoccupied, you may find that when that abandonment wound is alive, it can actually sabotage your relationships, right? It can accidentally cause you to cling on too tight, which makes somebody feel codependent and afraid of losing themselves and causes them to push away, meaning it has the reverse effect of what you're often intending. Biggest lie number 2, I don't need to express myself. I can people please my way through things, and that will cause somebody to people please back. This is actually called a covert contract. In other words, if I think that by pouring myself into a relationship, that I can expect somebody to just pour themselves back into the relationship, I'm essentially creating this sort of covert contract with you. I'm saying, oh, if I do all these things, you'll do these things back. Other attachment styles don't work that way. Fearful avoidants sometimes operate by covert contracts for sure, and obviously other anxious preoccupieds do, but securely attached people generally do not, and dismissive avoidants generally do not at all. And fearful avoidants, when they feel triggered, do not as well. So if we think that by sort of creating this, like, this generosity in our relationship and pouring into a relationship, it's sort of a quiet guarantee that somebody will do the same, that will also work against us. What we need to substitute with, and what the truth is for this, is that we need to start communicating openly what our needs are and what we're looking for. If we don't do that, we don't give somebody the opportunity to truly know us, to understand us, to know what our needs are, because we all have such unique programming as different attachment styles. And so if we're trying to, think by doing this, I'm kind of buying this back for myself later, or if you find yourself tracking a lot of things in relationships, like all the energy you put in, you are sort of thinking, okay, now this person's going to want to put the energy in back. This will just work against you. So make sure you substitute the lie with the truth of being able to communicate your needs, understand what your needs are, and share your true yeses and nos and authentic emotions and wants with somebody so that they can actually show up for you instead of hoping that they'll read your mind or reinvest because you're investing. Number 3, biggest lie. I don't need boundaries. This could not be further from the truth. I find that so many anxious preoccupieds fear that they are going to set boundaries and that boundary is going to cause somebody to abandon you. Like, if I set any kind of boundary, this person's going to abandon me. If somebody abandons you because you set a boundary as a human being, you are not meant to be in a relationship with them anyways, and you're saving yourself the heartache. Boundaries are a healthy, authentic expression of yourself. They are an expression of your true yeses and your true nos, and anybody worth investing in a relationship will honor and respect your boundaries and will still show up and commit to the relationship, even whether or not you set a boundary. Try to take a look at this for just a moment. Think of the people who set the most boundaries. Oftentimes, people chase those people. You may find dismissive avoidance set these big boundaries, and then people are almost like trying to people please their way through that dismissive avoidance because this person's authentically expressing themselves. And the more that we own and honor ourselves, the more people tend to follow suit because we teach people how to treat us through our own behavior towards the relationship to ourselves. So, really important. The substitution there for the truth is it is healthy for me to have boundaries, and people worth investing in relationships with will honor and respect my boundaries. Number 4, we should just only meet each other's needs. This lie that we tell ourselves that we should just meet each other's needs, I should meet all of your needs, you should meet all of my needs, this is actually codependency. The truth is that we are looking for healthy interdependency. In other words, I want to make sure that I have the capacity to meet your needs and show up and do my best, but I also have to consider myself and realize that sometimes I'm going to be tired or had a long day myself or I'm going through something or whatever it might be, and it's okay to not be available sometimes for somebody else. And it's also okay for them to not be available sometimes for you. And where the substitution comes in, and this is what you'll see from securely attached people, is that the reality is that when I know how to meet my own needs too, in the 10% of the time or so that somebody may not be available for me, it's okay because I trust myself to be able to meet my needs as well. And I trust myself to be able to communicate my needs to other people in my life so they can also meet them in healthy ways. And this is called interdependency. I can meet my own needs and I can meet yours. You can meet your own needs and you can meet mine. And that is a huge foundational part of what securely attached relationships are based off of. So this is a really important substitution from codependency lie to interdependency truth. Number 5, if they cared about me enough, they would just know what I need. Okay. This is called an expectation for mind reading. This is a big lie. People are so unique, and we have to remember that people have totally different modeling from what love was for their childhood. People have so much different programming for what they expect, for what their needs are, for what their fears are. And so people all tend to project onto us what they are because this is how human beings work. If I would need a lot of, transparency in a situation where I feel confused, I might assume that that's what you need in the situation. But maybe somebody needs validation or reassurance instead of transparency. People will need different things in different types of situations. And so often the anxious preoccupied thinks, I don't need to communicate. If they loved me enough, they would know what I need. This could not be further from the truth. Communicate your truth, share your feelings, share your expectations, open up, let people in. Don't be afraid to be seen. Okay, this is really important. And so the more you communicate, the more you are going to get a chance for somebody to really show up the way you're looking for in your relationships. Lie number 6, it's too hard to leave, so I should just stay. This is a really painful one. Often what happens in situations that are unhealthy is the anxious preoccupied fears abandonment so much and fears the pain associated with abandonment so much that they actually prioritize the pain of staying in an unhealthy relationship, and they pick this pain, right? They're like, I'd rather stay in something that's not working for me than leave something and have to feel my abandonment wounds. And this is going to keep you locked up in situations that are not serving you, and it's going to stop you from doing the inner job, the healing of the abandonment wounds from the inside out, so that you become more securely attached and pick secure partners who are willing to invest in you the way that you are trying to get them to invest in you and the way that you're actually needing. So I can't stress this enough. If you are finding yourself saying, I should just stay, even though your conscious mind knows this is not the right relationship, this is not working for me, then you want to make sure that you are able to really question that, work through those abandonment wounds, reprogram them, especially by ending the self-abandonment in relationship to you. And as you are able to move the needle through that, you're going to find that you actually can then pick more secure people and find that you'll be more attracted to securely attached people in the relationships with you. And this is going to be a huge step towards becoming secure and also a huge step towards actually feeling fulfilled in relationships and ending the cycle of feeling, afraid, anxious, frustrated, and like your needs are just not getting met and you're not finding that right person. And then last but not least, lie number 7 is the idea that you don't need standards in a relationship because you're not worthy or deserving. And I think this is a big dynamic that a lot of anxious preoccupieds carry, this idea that they're not good enough or they're not worthy or they're not deserving of more. And so they settle for things that are not actually making them happy. And I really want to encourage you to substitute that lie for the truth of I am good enough and I am worthy of love and deserving of love that actually fulfills me. And so much of the root of this is going to happen and shift and change because you are willing to show up in the relationship to yourself. You are willing to support yourself and actually execute on self care, introspection, being able to be attuned to your own feelings and needs, being able to express your feelings and needs to others, being able to self soothe your feelings and needs. And as you do this work, you are becoming in a secure relationship. In other words, you're becoming securely attached to yourself, which then reconditions your subconscious comfort zone to then feel like you are ready and willing to invest in secure relationships with others. And the red flags and the alarm bells will go off when things are not up to standard or up to par for what you are truly worthy and deserving of. So these are 7 big lies that we can substitute with those 7 big truths. And if you want to do a deeper dive into this topic, please feel free to let me know questions you have in the comments down below, some of your experiences. I'm curious to hear which lie stands out to you the most. And also, if you want to do a deep dive into really reprogramming some of these things faster, because to heal your attachment style, we really have to target the subconscious mind. I have an anxious attachment style reprogramming to secure course you can check out for free for 7 days using the link down below that will help you really dig into these things and really make sure they come alive at the subconscious level. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please like, share, and subscribe if you're enjoying this channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our daily content here. And I look forward to hearing from you in the comments.